police chief helping investigators identify his own son for a vicious and mean-spirited attack of an elderly Sikh man in California. This happened about an hour and a half east of San Francisco in Manteca on Monday. The incident caught on surveillance camera, and I warn you, it is tough to watch this. Two young men approach this 71-year-old man. They push him, they kick him, they even spit on him before they walk away. Fortunately, the man escaped with only minor injuries. Now, one of the suspects, 18-year-old Tyrone McAllister, this young man here, is the estranged son of Union City Police Chief Daryl McAllister.
The family has been in constant contact with our investigators. The family is devastated by the actions of their estranged son, who they haven't seen in several months.
The police chief himself took to Facebook, writing, quote, "Words can barely describe how embarrassed, dejected, and hurt my wife, daughters, and I feel right now." He goes on to say, "Violence and hatred is not what we have taught our children. My wife and I worked with Manteca PD to help them track him down and arrest him." McAllister and an unnamed 16-year-old teen have been charged with attempted murder, or pardon me, they've been charged with attempted robbery, elder abuse, and assault with a deadly weapon. Cheryl Dorsey joins me. You know her as a retired LAPD police sergeant. She's also a familiar face here on CNN and on HLN. Cheryl, you know, you can feel kind of the pain and angst in this chief's post. It's obviously an embarrassment to him. It hurts he and his family very deeply that somebody of their own family would cause and inflict such pain and hatred on another individual.
Yeah, and so, you know, this is when you understand that being a police officer doesn't necessarily make us any stronger or different from everybody else. We, as parents, and I'm one, I've got 4 sons, you know, we raise our kids to do a thing and be a certain way, and we hope when they leave our home that they act and conduct themselves appropriately. And so, you know, much like this young man, he's 18 now, and so his parents did the very best that they could to raise him. I'm sure they taught him the difference between right and wrong, but he's chosen his own path. And so sometimes when that happens, then you do have to give tough love, and you have to be estranged in order for them to understand that certain nonsense won't be tolerated. And so now this young man is going to learn a very, very costly lesson, because for every choice, there's a consequence.
Yeah, and not any more apparent than it is in this way. The chief says his son began to lose his way a few years ago, got in with a bad crowd, spent some time in juvenile hall, and then also faced another arrest later on. It sounds like this young man has got some stuff going on, and certainly now the troubles are mounting. Talk to us about those conversations you have. You had them with your own son. Likely this chief had conversations with his daughter and son about, you know, the fact that you are, by extension, part of the police department family.
Absolutely. And, you know, and I'm sure this is not unique to me. I share with my sons the kinds of things that I see, the kinds of things that get young people into trouble, in an attempt to help them miss and avoid those pitfalls like any parent does. We tell our children that fire is hot, don't put your hand on it. But if they're determined and they don't think that a pig is still pork, then sometimes they find these very difficult lessons, and you do a thing that becomes life-altering. This young man could be facing many years in prison. And while he may think he's Billy Bad Boy, he's going to find out when he gets in jail around real bad doers that he would have wished he had taken his father's advice.
You know, I imagine that this was a real challenge. I hope we can actually stop showing this video over and over, because this is not only disgraceful, but this elderly man needs the dignity of not having had that wallpapered all over the news. I'm sorry, I just needed to not have that video shown anymore. It is too upsetting to watch. The police chief, you know, this is where you show your chops as a leader. It's not just how you lead in good times, Cheryl, right? It's how you lead when there are struggles and when there are problems.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, he's walking he's speaking the talk and he's walking the walk, right? And so, you know, as hurtful and as painful as it is, and I'm sure he wants people to understand that no special considerations have been given to his son because he's his son. But, you know, we do the best we can, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a banker, or whether you're a police officer or a police chief. And if your children, when they grow up, choose to do something different, then you have to wash your hands of them and let them learn those hard lessons and hope that they don't fall too far off the grid when they do those bad things, when they make those bad decisions. We hope that they stumble and we're able to pick them up, dust them off. But in this instance, this young man owns this and he's going to have to deal with it.
He is going to have to, but, you know, he has an opportunity here, too, right? There's even here, there's an opportunity for him to turn his life around, and let's hope that happens. Cheryl Dorsey, always a delight to talk to you. Thank you, love.